Telling your story. WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. This morning's rain dropped a lot of water in a short amount of time in some areas.
Yeah, and those heavy rains can lead to flooding and other hazardous road conditions. WCBI's Anthony Jenkins Jr. spoke with law enforcement about what you need to look out for and how you can make it safely to your destination.
A round of storms and heavy rain hit the area this morning, and the National Weather Service says another round is possible tonight. Those storms are expected to drop between 2 to 6 inches of rain, and that has the potential to cause flooding in many areas. Law enforcement agencies are encouraging drivers to be mindful of the water on the road and take extra precautions.
It's always good if you're planning on traveling or just doing your day in and day out. That's one of the first things I do every morning is check the weather, see what it's going to be like, and also keeping proper tires that have proper tread depth on them. And also having proper windshield wipers in proper working order, so they're it helps them see when it is raining.
Officers with the Starkville Police Department say they have recorded more than 800 wrecks, and a contributing factor is often weather conditions. As SPD's Motor Unit Corporal Kobe Huffman says, they're responding to multiple wrecks due to flooding and rain-slick roads within the past 24 hours.
So if the weather is too rough where you don't feel comfortable driving, again, we ask you turn on your headlights, you can see and be seen. And then the second thing we ask is to pull safely and completely off of the roadway.
Mississippi Highway Patrol Public Affairs Supervisor Derek Beckham says being prepared for the weather ahead can help drivers get to their destination safely.
We don't know, this is Mississippi. We could have snow next week, here. That's just the way it is. But just again, pre-maintenance checks are huge, and in an event like today, rain, give yourself a little bit of leeway to get to work or wherever it is you're traveling so that you're not speeding, exceeding the speed limit. As a matter of fact, this time with the type of rain we've had so far and could potentially have through tomorrow, you want to drive less than the speed limit. The posted speed limit is for ideal weather conditions, not like a day like today.
In the Golden Triangle telling your story, Anthony Jenkins Jr., WCBI News.
And you can keep up to date on the latest conditions by following WCBI's weather team on our website and our social medias.
Baldwin residents now have a safe place to go when severe weather threatens. The city has installed 3 new public storm shelters in downtown. They are located at the corner of Front and Water Street.
We had a lot of rain this morning, as Kamari mentioned, and as we continue on throughout this afternoon, we still have a lot of rain as we head into the evening, taking place out in Starkville, just northwest of Kosciuszko, and to the southwest of Philadelphia. These showers will continue on as we head into the overnight hours, especially as we approach 10 o'clock and going into midnight. That's when the heaviest showers and thunderstorms will take place overnight. Back to you, Grace.
The former interim mayor of Ware trades City Hall for the Webster County Courthouse Monday. Douglas Atkinson, who also served as alderman for the town of Ware, is set to stand trial in Webster County Circuit Court on a charge of computer luring of a minor. Atkinson was arrested last June on a warrant out of both Choctaw and Webster counties. At the time, law enforcement seized evidence including internet history and hard drives.
Well, former Mississippi Department of Human Services Executive Director John Davis testified today during the Ted DiBiase Jr. trial. The testimony focused on Davis's relationship with DiBiase's brother, former pro wrestler Brett DiBiase. CBS affiliate down in Jackson, WJTV, reports that according to court documents, Ted DiBiase Jr. and co-conspirators Davis, Christy Webb, Nancy New, and others are alleged to have fraudulently obtained federal funds, including welfare funds. DiBiase was a WWE wrestler in the early 2000s. As part of the alleged scheme, after federal funds were issued to MDHS, prosecutors said Davis directed MDHS to subgrant the funds to 2 nonprofit organizations, Family Resource Center of North Mississippi Incorporated and MCEC, which were operated by Christy Webb and Nancy New respectively. Davis allegedly directed Webb and New to award sham contracts to various individuals and entities, including at least 5 sham contracts that were awarded to DiBiase's companies. Now, according to the indictment, FRC and MCEC providing millions of dollars in federal funds from MDHS to DiBiase and his companies for social services that DiBiase did not provide and did not intend to provide. DiBiase allegedly used these federal funds for a vehicle, a boat, and the down payment on a house. DiBiase's brother Brett and Christy Webb have pleaded guilty to federal charges tied to the case.
Macon's interim police chief can now drop interim from his title. Mayor Freddie Poindexter swore in Andreas Walker as the town's new police chief at a ceremony this morning. Chief Walker has been with the department for 16 years. He was appointed interim chief in July after former chief Divine Beck retired. Walker wants to grow the department and put more officers on the streets, but he says even with an increased police presence, his department still needs the help and support from residents.
Don't never hesitate to call 911 or Crime Stoppers, just as long as we at least get a tip to give us put us in the right direction. And we don't mind, doing the investigation, doing what we got to do to solve the crime. My duties.
Walker said his department will also be enforcing the city's curfew ordinance that requires minors to be off the streets by 10 on weeknights and 11 on weekends.
Well, since 2015, January 9th has been set aside as a National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. On Friday, a nonprofit organization called the Sisters for Service held an event to honor the sacrifices of all the men and women that wear the color blue. The nonprofit organization held a free brunch. Now, the meal included eggs, grits, and much more. Event organizer Pat Scott says this was a great way to bring people together and show appreciation to those who risk their lives for citizens.
Food is definitely always a good way to bring people together. So we just decided that with our skills and with us being a group of retired ladies, that we would just do a breakfast to show them how much we appreciate them. And we focused on all of the law enforcement.
It's always great to hear those thank yous, especially from young children. It's always good because if a young child is saying that means their parents, are instilling those type of things in them. So that's very important. But to me, our thank you is never enough to them. So we truly appreciate our community support in, fixing us this breakfast this morning. And just anytime we're out and about, those thank yous go a long way. A lot of times it helps pick us up and to move on and go a little bit further.
The brunch was held at 15th Street Church of God in Christ. Scott says they will make sure to add the brunch to their organization's annual events.
Parkgate Pregnancy Clinic is expanding, and another local ministry, 8 Days of Hope, is playing a big role. I'm Allie Martin. We'll have details straight ahead on WCBI News.
Welcome back. A Tupelo-based ministry that helps women facing crises, pregnancies, is expanding, and another local ministry is playing a big role in that project.
Yeah, it sure is. Our Allie Martin tells us how Parkgate Pregnancy Clinic and 8 Days of Hope are joining forces for the expansion.
On a recent afternoon, Parkgate Pregnancy Clinic Executive Director Andrea Powell was sitting in on a meeting at 8 Days of Hope.
Down bottom. There's some stone on top.
Parkgate Pregnancy Clinic is expanding and will build an 8,000 square foot facility. 8 Days of Hope has rebuilt homes destroyed by natural disasters for the past 20 years with volunteers and at no cost to the homeowners. The group will oversee the construction of Parkgate's new headquarters using its army of volunteers along with hundreds of thousands of dollars of donated materials.
You think about 8 Days of Hope.
Right.
They come in crisis situations, right? And they provide hope. That's what we do at Parkgate. Crisis situations, providing the hope of Jesus.
We have a great base here in Northeast Mississippi with volunteers and churches and partners and donors. And anytime we can link up with a ministry as great as Parkgate, we'd be foolish not to do that.
Powell says since Roe versus Wade was overturned and the authority to regulate or ban abortion was given to the individual states, the numbers of expectant moms and dads facing crisis pregnancies and the need for counseling has increased. Land for the expansion was donated to Parkgate and is next door to the ministry's current location.
We're going to continue to use our current facility. So not only are we being able to build this new facility, we'll continue to use our current facility to reach fathers. That's what we want to repurpose that for, because we know dad is the #1 influence on a decision for life.
Right.
And so now we'll have 2 facilities right next door. We'll be able to expand our counseling. We'll be able to have maternity care for those. We'll be able to have a teaching kitchen, training classrooms, childcare, and expansion for our baby closet. It's an exciting time at Parkgate.
And for Steve Tiber, the partnership is much more than a construction project.
You know, personally, I'm passionate about this. I have 5 children, my wife and I. They're all adopted. I pray for those kids' birth parents all the time, and I give God thanks that they chose life, Allie. I wouldn't have my 5 beautiful kids if a parent didn't say yes to saying yes to life.
Parkgate will need to raise about $2 million to fund the expansion. Work will start this spring, and it could be finished later this year or by early 2027. Telling your story in Tupelo, Allie Martin, WCBI News.
And for more information on the project or how you can volunteer, go to our website at WCBI.com.